always say I'm an average guy, but some people go, you're not average. I go, but I am an average guy that just does crazy things. I've always been that way. I just want to see how far I can push something.
This is Big Boy Pants Golf. I'm here with a Ironman and a triathlete ultra runner legend, Chet the Jet.
Aloha.
In today's episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, we're gonna look into the parallels between being this ultra competitive Ultraman, triathlete Ironman, and golf.
And it's pin high. T.T. Rodriguez.
I was just a young kid, and I never ran more than 50 yards, and I used to notice this heavier set guy would always be running behind our apartments. And one day I went out and said, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I run a mile a day, half mile out, half mile back. I said, oh my God, who could run that far? And he goes, well, look at you. You're a young kid. I'm a big, heavy set guy. Just come run with me one day. I said, I can't run that far. And then he goes, I'm big and fat. Just come out and run with me. I said, well, he's got a point there. So I jogged with him, and the last 100 yards, I'd outsprint him. And we continued doing this for about a week or so. Then he moved up to 2 miles, 3 miles, and I was content with that. And his last one, I thought it was kind of rigged, but he goes, let's race 4 miles away, straight away. My girlfriend will drive the car and meet us, and loser buys breakfast. And I got all nervous. I said, 4 miles? But he goes, remember, I'm a fat guy. All you gotta do is stay with me and I'll sprint you the last 100 yards. I said, sure, let's do it. Well, that's when I first learned how not to run. I took off like a bat out of hell. I'm running, and I get to about the 3 mile mark, and I found out what the wall means. I just stopped, almost. And I started walking. I go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm dying. And I looked back and saw him coming. And I barely beat him by about 20 yards only, but I beat him, but I found out what the wall means, and it's no fun. I'm a strong believer about the mental powers. 80 to 90% is mental, and you could relate that to anything. I do a lot of different sports. Golf, example. It seems like a simple game. You just hit the little white ball, but you could be having a great round and then just blow up on one hole, and then your whole attitude can change, and then the rest of the day you're having a bad day. And so I found that you really got to just shake it off and keep going. But I've had, like I said, I always try to break 90 is my goal, and I'm usually 95, 96. And I've had 2 or 3 chances to break it. I said, all I gotta do is bogey, and I'll shoot an 89. And of course, double bogey. And it's just so funny how the mental mind you can lose it. So you gotta really stay focused and just believe in yourself and just calm down. I think you start thinking about things too much, and that really is a factor.
I really like my players to be athletic. And what that means to me is I want them to be instinctive. I want them to play with their eyes and their instinct. I want them to see a shot and hit a shot without thinking in between, so they can really react to what their eyes and instincts just see. I think it's about getting your mind in the right place. I mean, it's really as simple as, if you're going to think about golf, think about playing great, or think about making putts, or think about hitting good shots instead of spending hours worrying about playing bad.
It's amazing how parallel thinking works between what Chet says and what Dr. Bob Rotella advises. Don't overthink things, but if you do want to think, be positive. Only keep positive outcomes in your head, and don't waste energy thinking about the negative things that might happen, or your mind might cause those negative outcomes.
I mean, most good players will say, when I was a kid playing golf, I went to the golf course every day. I just wanted to see how many birdies I could make. And they'll say, God, now I'm out on tour and I'm out there trying to not make bogeys.
Would you say in ultramarathons or Ironman, because you've done so many of them, 20 in a row at one point,
Right.
that you stay in the present and take things as they come, because there's all these other variables that are coming at you?
Yeah, in a race of, say, a week or 20 days, you're gonna have many highs and lows. And when you have the highs, ride them. When you get to lows, I think it's important to have a good support system with you. Like in golf, you have caddies. In ultra runnings, we have crews. And crews, you would not be able to do what you can do without, your crew. In golf, caddies, the pros are good, but they rely on their caddies for help too.
Can you tell me about that time you were competing in Hungary?
Okay, example. I've always been getting by with, to me, 6 hours sleep at night during these 6-day runs, example. And I've never had a crew that knew how to handle me, I guess, the right way. And it makes a difference because, you can have a guy that you get almost pissed at you, but you need a guy that's kind of can be harsh, but also be funny. And I had the #1 guy in Hungary crew for me at the 6-day run. And I thought, oh my God, this is awesome. I get the best guy in the world crewing for me. And the problem was, he shell-shocked me a little bit. First day before I started, he walked up to me and says, "Are you a runner or a walker?" I said, "Like, what do you mean, dude? I'm a runner." He goes, "Okay, then we're not gonna walk during this race." And I thought he was crazy, because 6 days you gotta walk. And he had a way, he was so funny, but he was also nuts. And he would just make me do things I never thought I could do. And he made me realize I couldn't do stuff like sleeping. I came in at midnight to sleep for 6 hours. I got in the shower, he had me a warm meal, I went to bed. 2.5 hours later, he's like tickling my feet, saying, "Get up, it's time to go." I said, "Are you crazy? That's 2 hours sleep." He goes, "Yeah, we're not here to sleep, we're here to run." I thought, this guy's a nut. And anyway, he showed me that I could get by with 2 to 3 hours sleep. And I couldn't believe it before. So a crew is very important. And whenever I finish a race, I give a lot of credit to my crew because, we're a team. It's not just me doing it. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't have done that. In running, I ran from San Francisco to Oxnard, 420 miles, and it was for muscular dystrophy. I had no clue what I was doing, but I just said, well, that was the progression up, and I had to do it, so I did it, and it was cool. In triathlons, I don't like to swim. Who wants to sit on a bike seat for very long? But I said, you got to swim and bike before you can run. So I started off at Olympic, half Ironman, and then I heard about a double Ironman. I thought, oh my goodness, that'd be incredible. I'd be the baddest dude around. And then I heard about a triple, and then a 10. And I went and did the 10-time Ironman in Monterrey, Mexico in 1998. When I got done, I flipped off the course. I said, I'll never do something so stupid again. You swim in a swimming pool for 24 miles. Then you ride a bike around a 1-mile loop for 1,120 miles. And then you get off and you run 262 miles. So it's a 10-time Ironman. And I flipped off the course and said, never will I do something so stupid again in my life. 4 months later, I call it the call from hell. "Hello, Chet, this is Jorge. We're gonna have a double-decker. Double-decker meaning 20. I go, what do you mean? I go, twice as far as what I just did? I go, no, there's no way. And I actually hung up on him. I said, that's so stupid. And I started thinking, I go, wait a minute, if I do that, I'll be one of, a handful of people in the world to ever do it. It was back in 1998, and I called him back about a week later and said, I'm in. And I said, this is the stupidest thing I ever did, but I just said, I got to do it. I got to try it. And only 4 people in the world made it in 1998. I was one of 4 in the world to make it. And again, I was the last one to make it, but I didn't care. I did it in 28 days, 6 hours.
Have you seen the techniques evolve so that people can do what you do?
Yeah, back in the day, Jack Nicklaus and those guys, they played a certain way, and some of them are just, I'm sure they had lessons or everything, but some are just so natural. And then now the equipment is so much better. The instructions probably, they're in these things, hitting balls all the time, and every little detail about their swing, they can get video.
Television, because it can only take a video of the golf swing, we tend to present golf as if it's all about the swing. If we had a video of what was going on inside a player's mind, as well as the swing, we would very easily say, oh, God, his swing changed because look what he was thinking.
Here's how I know you're old school. We have all these advances in nutrition and fitness, and then there's your diet.
Yeah, when I had my own running and triathlon club, I wasn't allowed to speak about stretching or diet because I have probably the worst diet in the world of anybody. I've never in my life ate fruits and vegetables, exception like a banana. I don't eat condiments. I eat Taco Bell, pizza, milkshakes. And I got away with it for the first 50 years of my life. And the last 10, 14 years of my life, I'm 64 now. It's just hard. I still want to eat that way, but I can't. So I finally found something that I got onto. It's called Spiz, and it's saved my life, I think. It sounds weird, but it's a product I started taking. I'm not trying to push it on anybody, but it's just a product I started using, And my doctor, the last time I saw him, actually said, keep drinking that stuff. It's probably saving your life because I know the way you eat.
I think in terms of a golf takeaway, or for golfers, a lot of them have to find out what works for them too, for their golf games. Because I remember there was the one golfer, Carl Peterson. He was heavy set, lost a lot of weight, lost his swing, then got back to heavy set again via ice cream and beer, if I recall correctly, and he was back.
Yeah.
So it's just different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
When you're teaching, do you try to bring up your students' weaknesses or have them focus on their strengths?
Yeah, when I'm teaching like a beginner bike rider example, they sometimes can start going straight and that's all they do. I said, what are you weak at? I'll always ask them that. They go, well, I can't turn. I go, okay, so let's figure that out. And you can already ride straight, so you're a good rider. So I build their confidence up and I say, you need to learn how to turn. So there's some techniques. Turn your head, the bike will kind of go that way. You know, like little things like that. Don't look where you want to not go. You always look at the pole and you're going to hit the pole.
I think when you're on the golf course, it's about seeing where you want the ball to go instead of worrying about where you don't want it to go.
So just like on the golf course, don't focus on the water hazard or the OB stakes.
I do that all the time. I say, oh God, I got to hit over this water. And I'll say, oh God. And then sure enough,
Right.
and I say, there's no water. Just hit your normal shot. But people, they just see something and I tell people, don't look at the thing that you don't want to do. Like, don't run into that tree. Don't look at the water, look where you want to go. And I really believe in that. And tennis the same way. If I see a kid can't volley but he can hit good ground strokes, I'll have him practice volleys all day, you know, or serves, you know. So always practice your weaknesses. And a lot of people don't do that because they don't want to just do that. You know, they want to do what they're good at and they get really good at that, but then they're really weak at the other things. So they need to practice their weaknesses.
When's the last time you practiced getting mentally stronger for golf?
Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the Jungle and Sweet Child of Mine. Those just, I mean, I could listen to those two songs and just freaking just be pumped up. Of course, I go to the Rocky because, yeah, it's always inspiration. And if you need to get motivated, you think of, you know, the underdog coming through and just, you know, I can do this, you know, and you kind of pull your head out, you know. And yeah, so I'd say probably any type of rock, even Rambo, or, you know, I mean, that's a different style, but Rambo is like badass, you know, and, you know, you just think of something that will inspire you and don't give up, and you can figure out a way to get out of the situation, you know.
You know what's awesome? If we continue with Stallone movies,
Yeah.
cliffhanger.
Oh,
you got to hold on.
God, yes, that's right.
You don't want to fall into the ravine
Yeah.
of failure.
Yeah, so all those are just inspirational because it's just, you know, pushing through, you know, even the Rambo movies. I mean, you know, he's stuck in a cave and he's got to figure out how to get out of there. You know, he's taking on the whole army, you know.
Well, he also has like a wound and he has to like blowtorch something out through the wound.
Yeah. You know, I'm only a little sore and this guy's, you know, like got wounds and broken things and he's still going. So things like that, you know, you can always think other people or other situations are a lot worse than you're in, and, you know, kind of pull your head out and get back on track again. And it's a process, but you can do it. All sports have it, and like I said, it doesn't matter who you are, how old, I mean, I've seen older guys, older women, I mean, just incredible feats. And so, you know, now I think that people should just really concentrate on what they're doing.
I think what you're really chasing is a feeling state and a mental state where your mind's really quiet and you have peace of mind, and so you don't really care that much about the result when you're on the golf course. And you just keep doing it until you run out of holes. And when you run out of holes, you kind of assume that they're going to tell you won, but you're not worrying or caring about winning or losing while you're actually playing the game.
And, you know, like me, I might be trying to break 90, you might be trying to break 80 or 70. It's fine. I mean, we could still be friends, we could still golf together, but I think it's something in all sports you can relate to it. Just do the best you can do, and that's all you can ask for. And don't try to be somebody you're not.
A lot of it's about getting people to play the game of golf instead of fighting the game. I keep telling people it's a game and it has to be played at, and that means embracing the game and loving the challenge of the game and having fun with it.
Do you think we can grow the game of golf by encouraging ultramarathon runners and Ironmen to come into golf? Because it's a similar mindset.
No, it is, and that's a good statement. Yeah, I mean, like, I love it. I mean, any chance I have to play golf or do any other sport, in fact, I mean, I'm into it. I mean, you know, I might be focused on one, but I mean, to go play golf with the boys, I mean, you can't beat that. It's a great thing, and I think triathletes and, you know, runners, you know, I mean, that's a good way to mellow out for 4 hours and just do something else besides, you know, run and train hard. You gotta want it.
You once swam 48 miles.
Yeah, it's something that seems impossible like that. My philosophy is anything's possible if you put your mind to it. And I relate that to anything I do. You know, I mean, how can you practice for 48-mile swim if you're not a swimmer? I mean, even they don't do that far. I swam a couple 500 yards just to make sure my wetsuit fit right. And I said, okay, I'm good to go. And people thought, you didn't train? I go, well, who can train for 48 miles?
So without knowing you could do it, you just believed in yourself and you made it happen.
Yeah, I said, I know I can do anything I put my mind to, and I said I need to do 48 miles to get to the bike, and I don't care how long it takes me, but I'm gonna do it. 52 hours later, I suck at swimming, but 52 hours later, I did it just because I told myself I can do it, and I did it, and I was so proud.
Do you think in a year you could break 80?
If I put my mind to it, yeah. I mean, and I'm usually pretty good at what I set my mind to.
Will you put your mind to it?
Bring it.
So I'm interpreting that as a challenge accepted.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'll take it. 1 year to break 80. If I want to get better at golf, I know I can. It's just I have to put my mind to it and start doing it.